This is the second tutorial of basic video editing in Blender. In this lesson, I will tell you about the main tools of the program, about the interface of the Blender video editing table, about the main functions. And let's start to collect the bases of the video. By the way, friends, subscribe to the channel and press the bell too, do not miss new videos. We launch Blender. The Start window opens, where there will be a list of projects with which you have worked. If you don't have any projects you've worked on yet, select Video Editing. If you have an NVIDIA GeForce card in the Edit Preferences, in the System tab, select CUDA and check the boxes for processing when rendering with the video card and processor. When these features are enabled, Blender runs faster. Click Save Preferences to save the settings and close the settings window. Before us is the Blender timeline. In the upper left corner is the Blender Explorer. I do not use it. I prefer to drag and drop sources directly from the Operating System Explorer folder. I will collapse the Blender Explorer to enlarge the preview window that is in the middle. Right-click between windows, select Join Areas. See that the arrow is to the left and left-click on the Explorer window. To the right of the preview window, in the File Output Settings tab, set the image size in pixels, the FPS frame rate, the first frame of the project, the last frame of the project. All this can be changed. In the Output tab, set the folder for saving the video during rendering. 2 slashes means that the rendered video will be saved in the same place where the project itself was saved. Don't forget to save the project with Ctrl+S or File Save. Select a location to save the project. Give the project a name and click Save Blender File. Select the file format to save the render. For video, choose FFmpeg Container MPEG-4 Codec H264. Audio codec, I choose MP3 Stereo. You can drag the source folder into the Blender Explorer and import from there. The image of folders and Explorer can be changed here. Sources are sorted by file type. In the source folder there is a folder with lot of fonts. They need to be installed in the folder with the fonts of your operating system. Or, when selecting a font in a project, drag the font folder from the Operating System Explorer into Blender. In the video folder, all the video sources that we will need for the project from which we will collect our video. In the footage folder, the noise of the film that will come in handy. The glitch folder contains glitch transitions. In the PIC folder, the images that we need. For the last scene, you will need to film yourself. You can use your phone. I view the sources by dragging the video onto the track in the preview window. Playback in my settings is set to Shift plus a space, pressing pause again. Or right here. Move 1 frame forward, arrow to the right, 1 frame back, arrow to the left. To the beginning of the project, Shift plus arrow to the left. To the end of the project, Shift plus arrow to the right. You can select the video preview quality here. On a weak computer, we set the preview quality to 25. The quality will be worse, but the Blender will slow down less. I also check the directory box. I have a special proxy folder on the SSD drive. It works faster than a regular hard drive. And I check the overwrite checkbox to overwrite the proxy file during assembly. Drag the video to the timeline. Hold down the left mouse button and drag to the timeline. This is where we will work with our fragments. This is our desktop where we will cut, glue, and apply various effects to video fragments. a video and audio track is created, which differ in color. If desired, the color can be changed. Right-click on the track, select Set Color Tag and select a color, but everything suits me anyway. If you feel more comfortable with other colors, then change it. The tracks exist independently of each other and you can always substitute a new sound, a new audio track for the video, by deleting the old one with the delete button and vice versa. You can overlay a new video on the audio track. On the audio track, you can turn on the display of audio waves. Select the audio track and check the display waveform box here. This is convenient if you are making a video to music or synchronizing video and audio manually. You can turn stereo into mono by checking the box a little higher. An important point: imported or copied files will be in the position where the slider is located. If it is at the beginning, Shift plus an arrow to the left, then it will be at the beginning of the project. If the slider is in another place, then they will become where the slider is. We cut the tracks with a hotkey knife K. This is a preliminary cut, and if the track is pulled out, select the edge of the track by holding the left mouse button and drag, then it will be restored. If you don't know yet, you can cancel the action with a hotkey Ctrl plus Z. Let's cancel the cut. There is also a final cut, Shift plus K. With this cut, if you stretch the track, the last frame will freeze in a freeze frame. If necessary, you can cut both video and audio at the same time. Both tracks need to be selected. First, select one by pressing and holding Shift to select the second. Then recut. Hotkey K. Both tracks will be cut in the frame we need. Delete unnecessary with the delete button. Be careful all the actions you do apply to the selected track. Timeline scale can be changed horizontally by rotating the mouse wheel or by pressing and holding Ctrl, pressing the mouse wheel and dragging to the side. You can move the timeline by pressing the mouse wheel and drag it to the side or up or down. Zoom the timeline vertically, press and hold Ctrl, click the mouse wheel and drag up or down. Above the timeline window is the preview window. You can increase the size of the preview window by reducing the timeline. Put the mouse cursor between windows. The cursor will change on the double arrow. Left-click and drag. Scale the video in the preview window by rotating the mouse wheel. You can move it by pressing the mouse wheel and drag it to the side, up or down. Any windows can be resized based on the size of other windows. Put the mouse cursor between the windows. The cursor will change to a double arrow. Left-click and drag. When a video track is selected, to the right of the timeline there are tools for working with video. The Strip tab contains the necessary tools, transformation, cropping, and so on. We will touch on all this further. When a track is selected, the instruments in the Strip tab change. If one instrument is selected for video, another for audio. In the drop-down menu Transform, Position X, Y, you can change the position of X and Y. Scale X, Y, you can zoom in or out by X and Y. Rotation. Origin, change the center of transformation. For example, you can shift the center of rotation. The opacity tool is the transparency of the track. The transparency can be reduced to 0 and increased to 1. With these tools you can make animation with animation keys. With the track selected, move the mouse cursor over the opacity value and press I or click to the right of the value. The dot will become a diamond. Move the slider to the frame we need. Change the opacity value, or set the animation key by pressing I, or set the second animation key to the right of the value. We also move the slider, return opacity by 1 and set the key. We get a variable transparency. You can navigate between the animation keys with the up and down arrows. You can delete a key by clicking to the right of the value. You can make animation with other transformation tools. The blend value is a method of overlaying a track on other tracks. More about this in the editing process. In the Modifiers tab, modifiers applied to the track. Modifiers are used to make changes to an image, such as contrast, brightness, saturation, color balance, and masking. This allows you to select a mask created in the mask editor that will limit the modification to areas of the masked image. You can add these modifiers directly to the selected strip, or use them in the Adjustment Layer Effects strip, which allows you to apply these modifiers to multiple strips at the same time. There are many parameters that you need to talk about in a separate course on video editing. When an audio track is selected, audio tools appear on the right side. You can change the volume of each audio track, playback height, and panning for multi-channel sources. With these tools, you can do the same animation with animation keys. Make a smooth decay or increase in sound at the right time. On the audio track, you can turn on the display of the audio waveform. But especially with the sound you will not work. We prepare the sound in advance. There are a lot of tracks on the timeline. You can move tracks by holding the left mouse button and dragging, but then the track can be moved both vertically and horizontally. If you are afraid of going off horizontally, but you need to move it higher or lower, it is better to do it using the G, Y hotkeys, and the track will no longer move horizontally, but only vertically. After this tutorial on the video editing Blender interface, let's move on to the next practical tutorial, in which we will collect the structure of the future video. Link in description. My lesson has come to an end. Watch more tutorials on the Video Editing Blender channel. Let's move on to the next lesson. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.